choosing the right parents? The Grab Bag of Genetics by Gironda. There are 1,000 ways to help your body get bigger, look more impressive, or develop definition. And this book offers more of those techniques than any other single publication I have read. After you have read and assimilated all the information in this volume, I think that you'll agree. Even though you may already know and practice all this information, there is one undeniable certainty, which I, known as the Iron Guru of bodybuilding, have to concede. You cannot construct a physique to a greater degree than what your genetic potential allows. It is impossible. Yes, if we could choose the right parents, it would be a great advantage in bodybuilding. However, before you run off towards the sunset to commit harakiri, as a result of feeling disgraced by your parentage, let me inform you that the genetic potential of a man or woman in robust health and of normal bone structure is sufficient physical real estate on which to build a truly magnificent body. Stress test. Are you in good health right now? If the answer is yes, let's go all the way into bodybuilding. Jump aboard and fly with the eagles. If your health and vigor are questionable, you must see a doctor now. Ask for a complete physical checkup and tell your physician that you are into weight training. If he doesn't already know it, it's a vigorous pastime that makes great demands on your muscles, heart, and lungs on a regular basis. Tell your doctor you would like a stress test, which is simply a series of common exercises, such as riding a stationary bike, jogging on a treadmill, or stepping up and down on a low stool, performed while your heart and vital functions are monitored. What can a stress test tell your doctor? Merely how your body functions when subjected to physical stress. A less than perfect heart can be evidenced, as well as other organic problems. Most important is your body's ability to sustain and recuperate from vigorous exertion. In the unlikely event that your physician finds an abnormality, he can take steps to help you correct the problem. On the other hand, and the chances here are very much weighted in your favor, if you are given a clean bill of health, kick up your heels and swing into top gear. The genetic superior. Assuming you're in robust health, what else would you need to be designated a genetic superior? Well, in basketball, it's a 7-foot-plus athlete with abundant energy. In high jumping, it's long legs and a light frame. What are the genetic requirements of a bodybuilder? Wide shoulders and narrow hips are ideal, although not a necessity. Contrary to popular belief, a bodybuilder does not need big bones. In fact, medium-sized wrists, knees, and ankles are preferable. Their smallness accentuates the muscle size. Long muscles with a general abundance of cells are desirable. Short muscles, such as deficient or high calves, shored up triceps, and abruptly cut off biceps are the bête noire of the bodybuilder. Changes can be made, but they will not be as dramatic as you might wish. The tragedy, if it can be called that, is that a bodybuilder who has a couple of short muscles has to devote a great deal of his or her training to correct them. If you have inherited well-shaped long muscles, like Sergio Oliva or Lee Haney, for example, your training can be less complicated. To put it another way, there is not the burning need to sculpt the body with specific cosmetic exercises, as would be the case if you had high calves, long-wristed forearms, short triceps, and high biceps that left a 4-inch gap at the elbow when flexed. Even if you had the most genetically superior physique possible, you could still ruin it with indiscriminate training and a junk food diet. The ideal body should have straight limbs, no bow legs or knock knees. Natural health and vitality and the ability to recuperate from vigorous exercise are all standard requirements. Good natural posture is an advantage, although very few top bodybuilders have perfect carriage. The best I have ever seen belongs to my pupil Mohammed Makawi. It is not just his smile that makes him light up a stage. He has an animal elegance and flawless posture, the core of which is in his natural breeding. His raw physical potential goes beyond merely having great genetics for building large muscles. Determination to succeed. Although I started off this chapter by implying that both men and women are limited by their genetic inheritance, this should not put a damper on your decision to succeed against the odds. To date, The greatest bodybuilders are not the most genetically superior. Many have glaringly obvious faults. At least they are obvious to me. But they have refused to let these drawbacks interfere with their determination to succeed. Structural weaknesses and muscular irregularities cannot be radically altered, but thank the Lord, they can be disguised. Although there are a number of current studies which show an athlete's strength, speed, endurance, and development are a matter of genetic endowment, and no amount of training can overcome a deficiency in the genes. There is still hope because as thinking human beings, we can take steps to camouflage our weaknesses. Incredibly, in some cases, because a bodybuilder concentrates so much on a weak aspect of his physical makeup, it ultimately becomes his strength. Curiously, the most genetically endowed individuals seldom reach the top. Why? Because this natural physical superiority must be married to determination, motivation, and effort. In other words, even the most gifted among us must be willing to use all of their endowment to the limit. You have to work at it. One interesting genetic characteristic is the fact that an individual can inherit the potential for building an impressive physique in only one part of his or her body and not in another. The most important barometer of muscle building potential, as difficult to estimate as muscle cell counts, is the amount of testosterone, the male hormone you possess. In bodybuilding, having your fair share and more of this ingredient is vitally important. This, as you might guess, is the reason why so many bodybuilders feel it is absolutely necessary to take artificial hormone drugs, testosterone, and anabolic steroids. Summary: your genetic makeup is the limiting factor in your training. That's the bad news. The good news is that no one has utilized his or her raw potential to the fullest limit of their genetic capacity. Although unfavorable genetics have made thousands of bodybuilders' ultimate achievements difficult, no individual has ever been completely and totally limited by them.